Oh, there you are, YouTube. Do subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. Hey, I just watched on, what was it, Netflix, a movie called Do Revenge. And I remember watching the trailer for this. I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, this looks like a ripoff of Dirty Work. Not a ripoff, but like inspired by Dirty Work, that Norm Macdonald movie directed by Bob Saget with Artie Lang in it. So I was like kind of pumped to watch it, right? I was like, let's check this out, but just sort of popped out of my head, and then our friend Tracy came over today, and then she reminded us of the movie, and we're like, oh yeah, we wanted to watch that. So we watched it, and I remember thinking, all right, I'm gearing up for a Dirty Work like movie, which I love Norm Macdonald. And then as I'm watching it, it's like, okay, it might head that direction. And then it started to feel a lot more like Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, which I saw for the first time when I was in graduate school. I had a professor who gave me his entire Hitchcock um, collection, which he recorded off of the TV. So I sort of became acquainted with Hitchcock through, yeah, one of my professors from college. But I I was seeing a lot of similarities to it. There's no train or anything, but what was really shining through, before I get into that whole thing, is how influenced this movie was by like 90s teen comedies, 90s teen stories, like the high school movies and things like that. They were just like referencing them non-stop. And we were starting to pick up on a lot of Cruel Intentions influences, and then it's like, wait a second, this is just like Dangerous Liaisons. And then somebody in the movie, or maybe that's what clued us off or something, there was like a character in the book who was reading Dangerous Liaisons, and then it was like, oh yeah, Cruel Intentions is based off of Dangerous Liaisons. So it was like all these movies sort of rolled into one, but also like movies that just small references. Like I felt like there were some Never Been Kissed references. There were some Mean Girls references. I know that jumps into more the 2000s than 90s, but like 1999 movies were just injected into it. I feel like there was some minor Breakfast Club stuff, but you know how Easy A, if you saw Easy A, how that film is very much tip of the hat to 80s teen movies. This one felt much more in line with the 90s teen movies, and I'm forgetting a lot as well, that aren't even coming to mind right now. Drive Me Crazy, I'm pretty sure that one had some influence as well. There was probably She's All That. I can't think of a specific one right. No, can't think of a specific one right now. Sarah Michelle Gellar is in it from, Cruel Intentions. She even says some like callback lines to her character in Cruel Intentions. And she's obviously was like massive in the 90s, like in I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream 2, and just ubiquitous Swan's Crossing, and Buffy. I think I already said Buffy, but I didn't watch Buffy so much. I was more of a Buffy movie fan than I was the show. I don't know. I didn't get into the show. Wasn't that I didn't like it. It was just like I never really like started it, so I never watched it, even though people seem to love it. But yeah, all sorts of 90s references. I think even we were talking about how there's a car in there that looks like Ryan Phillippe's car from Cruel Intentions. Like, it really does seem like very Dangerous Liaisons with Glenn Close, who they bring up quite a bit, and Cruel Intentions with Strangers on a Train. And then I don't know if the Dirty Work was intentional, because the Dirty Work stuff felt more like the trailer than it did this movie. Maya Hawke is in it. There's a lot of people in it, but Maya Hawke is really the only one that I know. Actually, there's somebody from Euphoria in it that I recognized. But Maya Hawke, obviously, Uma Thurman's daughter, Uma Thurman, is in Dangerous Liaisons, right? Why did I just started to second guess myself. I think because of Heather Graham. But yeah. Okay. Anyway, um, what was I going with there? Uh, she's great in it. Um, yeah, I thought it was pretty good, you know, and there's a lot of backstabbing and revenge, obviously, and you know, I guess twist sort of thing, but all that's sort of falling in line with all the influences that it has. And ultimately, you know, I think we enjoyed the movie. I think all of us liked it. I don't know if it's like one that we're going to like return to much, but it was good for tonight. It was a pretty solid movie. Um, I'm curious to know how it's going to, or how it currently is. Maybe I'm not sure how long it's been available, but how I guess the generation it was built for, how they are receiving it. It was a lot of fun for us to watch because it was referencing our high school days, the movies that were coming out when we were in high school. And a lot of the music was from our era, like Clueless. There was also some Clueless references. But yeah, it was really heavily, like all the music, almost all of the songs were from when I was that age. So it was funny because like my wife was like, "Wait a second, does this take place in the 90s?" And it's like, well, it can't, right? Because everybody had like, you know, iPhones and stuff. So it was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. So it was just weird because it was so heavily using music from our high school era, in junior high era and stuff like that, that it was weird to see a younger generation listening to all of this or being scored with this type of music. It was very bizarre to see, but you know, I think that stuff sort of happens because when I was in high school, we were listening to 70s and 60s music from my dad's era, and that's, you know, what's going on now. The kids in high school, I guess, are listening to stuff that was going on late 90s and turn of the century, mid late 90s, turn of the century type stuff. So because I felt like there were just a lot of outfits that felt very turn of the century, like very 99 2000 Britney Spears type outfits inspired during or in the movie. I don't know, that's kind of what I was seeing anyway. But yeah, we liked it. Thought it was good. I don't know if it's anything we'd ever return to again, but it was pretty solid and it was fun to pick out all the various references. I feel like there was even a Dumb and Dumber reference in there. But I don't know. Check it out if you are a product of the 90s, if you're a 90s kid and are familiar with all those 90s films. It's kind of fun to be like, wait a second, I remember this. Wait a second, I remember this. Even, that's what I was going to say, with Maya Hawke being Uma Thurman's daughter, there's a scene of her driving early on, and the way she's driving is just like very much Kill Bill, The Bride, Quentin Tarantino, Beatrix Kiddo. Like it is just that, and it was very clearly that, and it was just like, wow, it wasn't just we were watching Maya Hawke play a character, it was like almost saying, hey, this is Uma Thurman's daughter. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, ultimately, we thought it was good. What, have you seen the movie? What do you think of it? Did you catch all those references? Did you catch references I did not catch? Let me know. I think I just gave away spoilers. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't think I necessarily did. I just maybe spoiled some Easter eggs. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of this video. And perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.